have faced extraordinary pressure and restrictions. Whatever one thinks of Khan's politics, the fundamental issue is much bigger than him alone. No political leader should be imprisoned and excluded from public life through a process that fails to meet basic international standards of fairness and due process. But it's equally important to understand why millions of Pakistanis continue to stand with Imran Khan. To his supporters, Khan represents something larger than a political party. He's a national hero who first brought Pakistan extraordinary pride on the world stage as a cricketer, devoted himself to philanthropy and public service, and then challenged a political system that many Pakistanis believe have failed them for generations. They see in him the possibility that Pakistan's future should be decided by its people, not by coercion, intimidation, or the imprisonment of political opponents. But there should be no mistake that today we are here to talk about this matter as a question of his human rights, as well as the humanitarian concerns relating to him and his wife's wrongful detentions, illegal detentions, and mistreatment and even torture while spending time in prison. Today, you'll hear from two people for whom this is not an abstraction or a political argument. They're Imran Khan's sons, and their father is in prison, and I'm honored to introduce them. First, we'll hear from his sons, as I said, Qasim and Suleiman, and then we'll hear from Zulfi Bukhari, former minister in Khan's office when he was prime minister, and current advisor to Imran Khan on international affairs and international media. In the meantime, as we have these opening remarks, which will also be followed by several of my own, we will then take questions from those attending the webinar. If you can put your name and affiliation in the chat box and either put a question you'd like us to pose or just simply indicate that you are interested in speaking. Once we are done with our presentations, we'll then begin to call on people, unmute them, and give you the opportunity to ask any questions you might want to ask. So with that, thank you very much. And Qasim, over to you.
Thanks, Jared. So I just want to say a few words that I've prepared. So the first thing I'd say is my father is mentally the toughest person I've ever met. He's spent 22 years being laughed at in politics before finally winning an election. He survived a brutal assassination attempt and has faced multiple. Now he's endured nearly 3 years in solitary confinement without breaking. But his body's paying the price for what's being done to him. He's 73 years old. He's held in a cell roughly 6 feet by 8 without windows or natural light. He's often held there for more than 23 hours a day. When his vision failed last October, they gave him eye drops for 3 months. By the time he was properly examined in February, he'd lost most of the sight in his right eye. Last week at Pakistan's Supreme Court, the judge said that the medical board's own report showed his pulse and heart rate were not normal. And finally, that his vital organs had started to be affected. No one's health should be harmed because they're in prison. The Supreme Court recognized this and ordered that our father be treated in a hospital. We ask that the government abide by this choice and let independent doctors treat him, produce his medical records, and let us speak to him, his children.
Thank you, Qasim. I wanted to tell you what this has meant for our family. My brother and I have not been able to visit our father for years. Our visa requests have gone nowhere, and the phone calls we used to have were irregular, short, and often monitored. But for the past 6 months, we haven't spoken to him once. Until the court intervened this month, our family had been denied access to him for nearly 10 months. What my father is going through is a violation of his human rights. And we're not alone in saying this. The UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture, the UN Committee Against Torture, and the Inter-Parliamentary Union have all formally taken up our father's case. Members of the US Congress and the UK House of Lords have spoken. This week, 21 former international cricket captains, including the greatest names of Indian cricket, wrote to Pakistan's Prime Minister asking that he receive medical care. And our mother asked the British government how much longer it will remain silent. The entire world is asking Pakistan to do one thing: obey its own courts.
Thanks so much, Suleiman. Zulfi, over to you.
You're on mute, Zulfi.
Sorry. As Suleiman and Qasim have stated of where they are in terms of what's happened in the past few days, I'll just add to this is that this is not just a contempt of court, it's a complete mockery. The Supreme Court of Pakistan, which is the highest court of the land, has ordered certain things to be obeyed by. The first and foremost was to take him to Shifa International Hospital. That was not the case. He was taken to a public hospital. And not only was he taken to a public hospital, they played tricks with the court, you can say. Something that not even maybe a 16-year-old child would do. They made Imran Khan's personal physician who runs his cancer hospital, who the Supreme Court again had ordered for him to be in the medical board. They made him go first to Shifa International, and then they deceived him and everybody else and the Supreme Court of Pakistan and took him to what's called Hind's Hospital, is a government hospital in Islamabad. So it is one thing trying to stand your ground saying, oh, we don't want him to go to a private hospital, which the Supreme Court has said. But another thing that you're actually deceiving the one person that the Supreme Court has put as an independent doctor of Imran Khan as his physician in that medical board. So you can see that the clear intentions that this government has tried to play. After that, he was only taken to hospital for a few hours. There was again a complete mockery of tests. It was done in unbelievable time where all these conditions that Qasim and Suleiman have laid out was all of a sudden tested. In fact, one of the reports has been leaked by journalists stating that they would like a CT scan of his heart and so on, and they turned around and said, well, the machine's not working. Contrary reports that the machine was working, but why didn't they take these tests then? Why, even if they disobeyed the court and took him into